Understanding Desert Rose.
Desert rose is the colloquial name given to the petal-shaped formations of gypsum or barite which grow to incorporate an abundance of sand grains. The minerals crystallize in an intricate and unique intersecting rosette growth pattern as the surrounding water condenses and evaporates. This forms fragile petal-like discs which fan outwards in radiating clusters which are flattened on the C-axis. It is a fascinating natural process, and unlike the majority of crystals in your collection, desert rose forms comparatively quickly. The formation time difference is as significant as the difference between a decade and one mere second. The desert rose crystal is also referred to as the sand rose, gypsum rose, Sahara rose, or selenite rose. It is found in the dry desert regions of Tunisia, Algeria, Libya, Morocco, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Spain, Jordan, Mongolia, USA, Germany, Mexico, Australia, Namibia, and South Africa. In order for a desert rose to form, they require a particularly arid environment, a large source of calcium sulfate, and a seasonal fluctuation of water. Sand becomes embedded in the rosette blades, while additions of water over time help form the signature rose petal formation. If iron oxides are present, the rosette takes on a rusty tone. Geological analysis reveals that there is a higher concentration of silicon in the core of each desert rose in comparison with the peripheral parts, which suggests that the discs grow from central seeds of silicon. Whilst the majority of crystals and minerals take millions or even billions of years to form, desert rose is an aggregate of disc-shaped gypsum crystals which can actually form over just a couple of hundred years. They are relatively easy to retrieve, and local inhabitants can extract the delicate formations from the surrounding area and sell them as souvenirs to tourists, creating sustainable incomes to local populations. Most specimens on the market have been brushed lightly to help define the rose petal shapes. Gypsum is an evaporite, which means that its crystals form during the evaporation of water. Gypsum can appear as transparent selenite crystals, fibrous, elongated satin spar crystals, granular and compact alabaster masses, and in these rosette-shaped aggregates known as desert roses. Barite resembles gypsum and calcite, but it is heavier with a higher density. The composition of the sand which is incorporated into the crystal structure varies with the local environment, and specific crystalline structure can reflect and act as an indicator of the specific environmental conditions present at the time of the crystal's formation. Desert roses with higher concentrations of gypsum tend to have better defined, sharper edges than the specimens which are higher in barite. Other bladed evaporite minerals such as celestine can also form rosette clusters. There is a particular type of desert rose found only in Oklahoma, which formed when shallow seas covered the area around 250 million years ago. This variety is referred to locally as Garber sandstone. The desert rose formations from this area look particularly light, crystalline, and can even feature a slight white to silvery luster due to the higher concentrations of salt in their chemical makeup. It is such a prevalent find in this area that the desert rose became the official state rock of Oklahoma in 1968. They were formed when deep basinal groundwater containing barium and sulfide migrated upward along the fractures and porous rock layers into the Garber sandstone. Upon reaching the aerated regions, the sulfide oxidized to sulfate, leading to the precipitation of insoluble barite. Native American shamans attributed the delicate formation with sacred and great power. One tradition was to task young children with keeping a specimen of selenite desert rose on the person for the duration of 3 full moons. If they were careful enough to prevent the desert rose crumbling to sand, then they would supposedly become great warriors and be blessed with many descendants. A traditional Native American tale told of selenite desert rose being carved by the hands of warrior spirits and spread across the earth to protect their homeland. A modern myth attributed to the Cherokee holds that barite desert roses were said to have formed from the tears and blood of the natives who were removed to Oklahoma from Georgia in 1838 to 1839. Representatives of the Cherokee Nation completely disavow this legend, noting that barite roses actually aren't found on any of the lands granted to the Cherokee. Clusters of desert roses have been recorded up to 39 inches tall and weighing more than 1,000 pounds. Intact pieces of this size are quite rare and therefore highly valuable to collectors. The largest recorded by the Oklahoma Geological Survey was 43 centimeters by 25 centimeters and weighed 125 pounds. This episode was written and researched by Charlie Foreverdark and narrated by Jay Hart.